Hi, this is Vicki Romaine with Cheerful Greetings, and today we're going to do a technique I call crumpled embossing. And we're going to start out with a piece of 12 by 12. I'm going to cut it into 4 pieces, and I will be making cards that are 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. But I'm going to use the larger piece of paper just to work on and to have leftovers, because my leftovers I use for other things. And here are a couple of my cards that show the crumpled embossing. There we go. Now, let me show you what the papers looked like originally. This was the blue or purplish. It became this. This one became this. And this one became this. And this is something that I enjoy doing, making something entirely different from the original piece of paper. Now, I am using designer paper and not cardstock, and you'll see why in just a minute. So we'll pick up my 3 cards and put them to the side, and we'll put my original 3 pieces of paper to the side. Now I'm going to take my purple, the one I just showed you, and have it divided into 4 pieces. And so this is what we have here. Now I want to have some pieces left over. To give you an example, I had this left over, and I may use it on another card for a particular reason. And then this one I had kind of an unusual piece left over, plus a couple of strips. So I may use that. So that's why I'm using my 6 by 6. And that's what happens when you cut your 12 by 12s into 4 pieces. You end up with 4 6 by 6 cards, or pieces of paper, as you call it. Now, I'm only going to use one for right now. And as I said, this is called crumpled embossing. So, let's start first with changing the color of my original piece. Let me get my box here. Since I'm not in the garage with plenty of space, or outside because it's too cold, I'm going to use this box to do my spraying. Now, I have many choices here, so I don't know which one I want to use yet. I have been kind of thinking about the teal. And by the way, all the spraying that I did on the original cards were this kind of spray, the color spray. And I'm going to use my teal here and see what happens. I try to use a color that is a contrast to the paper. Okay, all the color I've been using has been Heidi Swap color, and I haven't used it lately, so I thought I'd use some of it. Let's see, as I said, I'm working with teal. Okay, this is what I have. It doesn't show a whole lot of difference. But what I'm going to do is wait till it dries, or I can use my heat gun and speed up the drying. So maybe I'll do that. Okay, and that gives it a little gloss too. Now, the next step, I'm gonna put this down because I don't need it right now. The next step is to crumple it up. You want to take your time because it's still kind of damp, but you want to crumble it as much as you can without tearing it. Now, I have done one and it had a little hole in it, but by the time I got through, the hole was filled with embossing powder and you can't even find it. So we're going to crumple it up the best way we can. I just folding it. Now I'm doing it and fold it back the other way some. Okay, the next step, I'll be using my embossing powders. So I've got my embossing ink here, and we'll pull us out a couple of embossing powders. Okay, we have two embossing powders here. One is called Mirage and one's called Blueberry. I'm not sure what the Mirage is, I don't remember. So we shall put some on it anyway. I have a piece of paper underneath my project here so that it will catch the embossing powder. First thing I've got to do now is put my embossing ink on. I'll spread this around a little bit. I can't tell where the ink is. I may have to go back and put some more, but we shall see what happens. All of these are from what used to be powder keg. Let's see what color we have here. Okay. The Mirage is kind of a gray. Let's see what my Blueberry does. I'm going to crinkle this up again. Notice it's a lot more stiffer. I shouldn't have said more stiffer. I should have said stiffer. Hopefully I don't catch in places that I missed before. Let's try some Blueberry. Okay. Okay, let's see what we have here. Not a whole lot of difference, but there is some. And I think for this particular one, I'm going to put another color. This particular one should brighten it up a little bit. I decided I needed something brighter, so that's why I put the silver. And his crumpled embossing. Now, let me get my roller. That's if you have trouble with it, with spreading it out, flattening the piece of paper. Use your roller. And that works pretty well. If you notice, it'll crinkle too. Now you don't want all of these peaks and valleys to disappear. You want them to be seen, but you also want to be able to put your cards, your paper on the front of your card. Now let's compare. The Blueberry and the Mirage really didn't do very much to this, but here's our original paper. So it did in a way. Instead of the purple, we now have kind of a blue piece. So let's see how we're going to use this piece. I'm going to crumple it out a little more. Now I want to try to even up the edges because I want to cut it. And why do I want to cut it? Well, this was a 6 by 6. It's probably about a 5.5 by 5.5 now. But I only want to get a fourth of it in one direction. 5.5 and then 4 1/4. So let me see, I have a piece of cardstock here. I want to see what direction I want to cut it. I want to cut it this way, I think. Cut this piece off because I like this side better. And when we're looking at the bottom and the top, I think I like the top better. Let me see how. Okay, I've got me a piece of paper. It just happened that I found that this paper matches this design pretty well. Not the design part, but the coloring. So we'll put some glue on here. This piece is 5.5 by 4 1/4. And I'm just putting a little glue so I can put it on my card base. And it's going to cover the entire front. So we'll put this on here like this. Okay, let's see here. I've got this piece that completely covers the card, like this. Now I'm going to put this on top of it. I'm going to let it overhang the bottom until I get it on, because I'm going to have to kind of stretch my piece as I go. I want to get as close to the edge as I can, because it's going to be a lot of ups and downs on my paper. And the paper is twice as thick. It's not any thicker, but it's twice as hard to handle it. Let's put it that way, because it's got some stiffness in it now that it didn't have to begin with. I'll put some down the middle. Now let's see what we can get on here. Now I know this is going to be long because it started out and I haven't changed it yet as a 6-inch piece. But I don't know how much I'm going to have to stretch it to get it to work. We put it on at the top and go down the sides. And after that, it's just working the paper and the glue. And I put glue at the very bottom. Now I'm going to put glue on my card because my strip didn't come down this far. Now I'm gonna let this sit here for a few minutes while I get something to put on my card. And I'm going to clamp it so maybe it will stick. And I will also cut off the bottom. Okay, I found what I want to put on my card. I'm going to put these 2 pieces of leaves. I haven't decided about my first yet. And the best way to glue your leaves on that are like this and everything's thin, first you look at it closely and see if you can tell which is the right side and which is the wrong side, because it's a die cut, and die cuts have a right and a wrong side. The smooth part is the right side. So I'm going to put it in with the right side up. And this is my Xyron X. And it's wide enough that I can put both of these leaves in there. This is the wrong side. This is the right side. So I'll put the right side up. And I put it in, and then I just pull this out like this. And I have to go all the way out to the end of my stem. And then I tear it off. Next, I crease it real good, mesh it in. Want to make sure the stickiness gets on my stem. Okay, we take the plastic cover off. Usually it hangs over the side. Take that off. And sometimes your dye comes off with it, but anyway. Pull it off like this. Throw the top piece away. And then we'll pull it off. And I'm pulling toward the stem. I'm not hanging onto the stem, I'm hanging onto the top, because it has more body than the stem. And it comes on off. And what I have basically done now is put glue on the back of my die cut. And I may have to cut the stem off a little bit, we'll see. I'm gonna put it down here, bring it up, and press it all the way up. And there's a little stickiness between the pieces there, but that will go away eventually. And even if it doesn't, it's fine that it's on there. Now, my next piece is not quite as long. So I'm going to put it about here. And you can move these up to a degree. You can't move it but 1 or 2 times, or you'll lose the effect. Okay, and there are my 2 pieces. And I'm going to do exactly what I said you shouldn't do. I'm going to move it. If it doesn't work out, I can always go back and run it back through the Xyron X. So if you hear somebody talking about their X, that's what they're talking about. Now, I like that much better. It's closer to the top. Let's slide this one up just a little bit too. And then I'm going to put my saying in here. What you are comes to you. And I'm going to put that right here, I think. I think that's where. Now I could run this through the Xyron too and make it a sticker. You call this a sticker maker, but I never have. I've always just called it my X. Now I'm gonna put a little glue on my sentiment. And sometimes you can make a card and not just have a sentiment just out of the air, just a saying of some sort. And then let the inside be what kind of card it is. Okay. There's our card, all finished. And I don't know if you like the crumpled embossing or not, but I like the way that turned out. Now, let's see what we have now. This is the one we just made. And I put 3 different embossings on there because the first 2 really didn't show up. The blueberry, the mirage really didn't show up. The blueberry, I can see it in places. And then I thought, well, I'll put the silver on there to really show up. And the other one we made, well, I made ahead of time. And if you look at them closely, you'll see the embossing on it, and you'll see the crumpled background. Let me see, maybe I'll put these side by side. Now, here's my other one. I'll put that like this. Maybe that'll show up. Okay. And if you want to close up, I'll make a little close up here. Okay, here's a close up of my pieces, my cards. There's the one that I used distressed embossing on that one. This is the one I did. I showed you how to do. And then these others are all done the same way. Now this one had a print, but you never realize it. Well, you can see some of the print, but it looks entirely different from what I started out with. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please come back and see me and see what I have in store for you for next time. I'm going to be doing quite a few fairly new techniques or old techniques. They may be new to some of you, but they're old for me. And I hope that you like the one using the embossing powder here. In the meantime, have a great crafting day. And I hope you have a very Merry Christmas.